Hello, and welcome. My name is Steve Jagera. Welcome again to the Bridgecrew Office Hours Live at reInvent. You can see all sorts of domes behind me. You can maybe see an eye next to the Caesars Forum. We can give you a little tour later. It is 3 p.m. here in sunny Las Vegas at reInvent, and it has been eventful. Let's call it that. My colleague Matt Johnson, who is normally with us, will be here in a few seconds because we have a special guest coming, Phil Horn, who is the, let's say, AWS guru, works for Steamhouse. Okay, we can let that go. This morning we had Werner Vogel's keynote, and it was full of pretty amazing things that had Matt and I looking at each other going, what? We want to run and try it. So we're going to go through all of those. We're going to talk about our experiences at the AWS Jam, where we created a capture the flag, and we had no idea what to expect. There was 600 people per day, all learning how to use AWS services in a live sense with real hands-on. And I hate to say it, while Matt's not here, a little bit of a spoiler, one of my favorite AWS reInvent things ever. And go check out the AWS Community Summit YouTube channel because they've got some great content from behind the scenes. A whole team of roving reporters were there, and it was amazing. Give you a little taster of that though, as a little time delay. Check this out. Unbelievable, right? That was created by Joe Park, who is also one of the AWS Community Summit folks. And if you're watching this live, and we do happen to have live viewers, which does happen now or in the future, tell us what your favorite moment of reInvent was. If you're watching it later on YouTube, or if you're watching it live via stream because you can't afford to get here, which is why we do a lot of these things, just to try to let people who couldn't come to reInvent, because let's face it, somebody's not paying for you. It's kind of expensive. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to get feedback on this sort of stuff. But I'll tell you right now, my favorite thing that I've seen so far, actually, and this is going to be me sucking up, has been the Werner Vogel keynote. I always look forward to the keynotes. I saw the Alan Slipsky one on the evening, and I was like, it's okay, But really, I think for me, I'm just maybe being a geek. I'm always looking for what Werner does. And I wish, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil the intro, but there's like a Matrix style intro at the very beginning. Always very clever stuff. I don't know who actually produces what they do, both in terms of the intro and the slide decks, but a lot of work clearly goes into these, both on behalf of the presenters and on behalf of the organizing committees that actually make this stuff happen. So pretty incredible stuff. All right. So far, on day one on reInvent, I actually got sick and I missed some of the things. I'm going to start off with the Jam because we spent ages preparing the AWS Jam. If you don't know what it is, I will explain. The AWS Jam is an area, it took place at Mandalay Bay this year, but even though it's a little tiny lounge over at Venetian, and the Jam is a room where individuals who work at AWS, but also if you're lucky enough to be a sponsor, you can create something that uses a combination of services, very much like the Builders Fair, where people arrive and they get instructions and hints, and it's a little bit of a gamified version to create what you have designed for them. Now, this could be a CI/CD pipeline. It can be a secure pipeline, which is what we did. We did a capture the flag, which is a hacking example. All of this stuff, anything you can possibly imagine. If you want to learn how to use AWS services, there's probably a Jam for you. So maybe I'm being too biased on this, but it kind of blew my mind. And what we did was we took advantage of the fact that, if you don't know this already, our open source tool, Checkov, we just recently added software composition analysis to it. which is SCA, which stands for we look for vulnerabilities in Git repos based on package files, languages that are like Python, Golang, Java, anything that has the ability to identify packages, not necessarily compiled languages like C, not necessarily that, but pretty much everything beyond that, which is a big deal for Checkov. And what we did was we created a vulnerable Java application that had Log4j, and we taught you how to exploit it, which is a little bit dangerous. But at the same time, we showed you how to add Checkov to an AWS pipeline, code commit, code build, and code deploy. And we did it all using Cloud9 as a platform for you to go in and run the whole thing without having to install anything on your laptop. So Chekhov's pre-installed everywhere. And that's essentially what we did to make all of that happen. So it was incredibly rewarding to watch people sit all day and just play through building new scenarios. So that was kind of a pretty rewarding experience, both as a designer and of course as a build experience. So now I'm wondering where my co-host has gone. Now I feel like I'm in a horror film where just before we went live, there was a knock on the door. He went to get Phil Horn, and he's vanished. I can hear him coming. If you know Matt Johnson, you can hear him come from quite a ways off. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. And sure enough, speak of the devil, and he shall arrive.
I bring guests, Steve Jagat.
All right.
I bring guests.
I'm talking about AWS Jam for about 8 minutes.
Woo!
This is ad hoc.
Have you been speaking very slowly, Steve?
I've been speaking really fast.
Hello. Oh, really?
We are live.
Yeah, excellent. I believe so. Do I need to be more formal than that?
This is a required informality.
Okay.
We thought we'd give you the comfy chair, but you do sit. No, you sit there if you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take.
Why would I
Pull
need
up
the
a
comfy
few.
chair?
I'm gonna take
Because-
Steve's. I'm gonna take Steve's love seat, as he calls it.
Excellent.
Oh
I
yeah.
love
Room 2 on there, Steve?
Love it. Yeah, for
All right.
sure.
Fabulous. Now, my guests are here.
Cheers.
Would you please both introduce yourselves? I've already done me for 8 minutes.
Sure. Okay, let me open that.
Just
Hello.
hello.
Hello. Hello. Yes, so my name is Phil Horn. So I've run, walked, strolled, taken about a 10-mile journey from the Venetian, which is literally across the road. But
Las Vegas.
So I work for a business called Steamhouse. We're an advanced consulting partner based in the UK. And I also do something called ComSum, which is AWS Community Summit. These two are legends of the ComSum circuit. Roving reporters last year. Amazing job. So good that we asked you to come back and do it this year, which and you have been phenomenal. So yeah.
So
Thank you. Was that a long-winded?
That was beautiful. That was
great.
Go tell people where they can find the roving reporter content.
Oh, that's good. So we have a few different ways to do that. So it's all on the YouTube channel. So if you search for AWS ComSum on YouTube, you will find our channel. Ignore that it pops up saying AWS Consume, and actually go for the ComSum channel. And in there you will find lots of videos, number of them from these guys, but also this year we've broadened out the whole roving reporter thing, and so we've got various people from across the community giving their perspectives, giving their likes and dislikes of things that have happened and are happening at reInvent, interviews with speakers, interviews with product managers and solution architects and specialists from AWS. And the aim of it is to try to, well, we have the catchphrase of discover, digest, and discuss all of the great content from AWS reInvent. So we are, of course, also on Twitter, LinkedIn.
We interviewed, and this will be coming soon, on the ComSum channel. Matt did a great interview with one of the core.
Oh, you are good. You are good. Yeah.
What, explain the interview you did?
We did an amazing interview with the guy that heads up the internal like AWS SE, like Builders Fair, the micro project. So they have like an internal call for papers every year. They get thousands of internal entries from people wanting to build like really hands-on, really like visual interpretations of things you can do with AWS services. So like, for example, there was a air hockey person versus AI that was all built using AWS. There was a fully automated microbrewery, all built using Lambdas and IoT and all that. So hundreds of these, and the internal people on Amazon vote on which ones get to go to the Builders Fair. And then it's just this wonderful area of like weird, crazy left field ideas, but all backed with AWS.
Brilliant.
And we met the guy that like runs that project.
Yeah.
And he was thanking ComSum for like giving kind of, you know, more publicity to this thing. And Steve and I were both saying it's the best bit of the show floor.
Yes.
Like there's so much going on there.
Yeah.
Given the rest is vendors.
You guys were there last year as well, I think. And some of the coolest content you did was there, wasn't it? So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so one of my look at that.
Look at that. That is a Builders Fair coin.
And on the other camera
here for only the Builders Fair people.
And on the StreamYard camera as well.
What?
And on the StreamYard camera as well.
That's
the one. Bottom one.
Look at your setup. This is good.
Do you know what? It's amazing how that setup looks. And we're breaking that fourth wall now.
Yep.
We're talking about the things that the people cannot see. It's amazing how good this camera setup looks for the fact it was built in about 3 minutes. For those of you wondering why we're sat in Steve's bedroom, and we are
my lair
in the Mirage Hotel, is because we were last minute kicked out of a beautiful suite in the Venetian.
I think it's better
by salespeople.
By salespeople, yes.
Damn those salespeople.
I mean, they are probably paying our wages, so you know. Give and take.
They do have an obvious ROI, those salespeople.
Right, for sure. Yeah, they're not paying their mortgage in relevance dollars, are they? No. So for sure.
But yeah, so I think this is in true ComSum style. Joe would absolutely kill me if you heard me say.
Hi, Joe.
ComSum style. Hello, Joe. Yeah, go on.
I will actually just have a shout out to Joe. We have been sending him raw, unedited, unfiltered, uncropped video all week, and beautifully edited, chopped content appears online in like 2 hours. I have no idea how he does it.
I think he's real got some talent behind the scenes. He never comes front of camera, but he is the real talent.
We had a great interview at AWS Jam with the guy who founded the Jam.
I saw that one. Matthew Breton.
Right.
Yeah.
Matthew Breton. And that was, he came to us on the second day.
Yeah.
He went, "You guys are fast."
Yeah, so he is beavering away 24/7 back in Manchester in his shed.
The man does not sleep, but we do appreciate it.
He's obviously unpaid as well.
He doesn't understand money.
Yeah.
There's going to be a GoFundMe. Joe needs a new shed.
That sounds good. So, all of our self-promotional nonsense aside, do you have a favorite moment of your own personal reinvent, Phil?
Well, it's going to involve more. I'm not going to put it there.
Is it
I
now?
can't get to it. It is. It's absolutely now. Or it's now and over the next 30 minutes or so, or maybe 10 minutes.
We've definitely not paid him to say that.
Not yet. I would have to say, because I've been doing a lot of ComSum stuff as well, it's given a camera. And people, of course, what's it about? What's it for? And so that has genuinely been my favourite stuff. So we've done an interview with Angela Timofte, who did
on this morning.
Yes, so she did part of the keynote there. And she did an amazing job. So we had a little chat earlier in the week, where pre-keynote, and then this afternoon so Adrian Hesketh, myself, and Angela had a gondola ride where we interviewed Angela.
Oh, that's amazing!
About her experiences of doing a keynote. So we're calling this the gondola series now. So we started yesterday with Mark Sales. Do you guys know Mark Sales?
No.
Okay, so Mark is a specialist serverless specialist, probably it's that way around, at AWS, and he's been involved in Snapstar. Okay, you familiar with Snapstar?
Yeah.
Big announcement about that, and so racking our brains. Where do you do an interview in this craziness? We were stood next to the gondolas, and it was a sort of natural, logical step to then take a gondola ride. So yeah, and then we did a third one of the gondola series this afternoon with Jeremy Daly, another serverless hero type guy.
No,
So that was today.
well, they must have been happy with keynote then.
Oh yeah. As were all right. So this at Steamhouse, another. Can I pitch this?
Go for it, yeah.
Go for it.
We are cloud native consulting business, do loads of containers, serverless builds, and that sort of thing. And our Slack and our WhatsApp groups all of a sudden started lighting up as people were going, "This is cool. This is good." So yeah, great keynote this morning, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a few key announcements. Was there any particulars that I mean, I feel we both reacted with a WTF. We were in the same room.
Yeah.
We just crossed WTFs on WhatsApp
Brilliant.
Right.
while watching it. We're like,
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you what that is. I'm going to bias you.
Oh,
Anything particular?
I'm going to defer entirely to you guys to talk about what cool announcements there were. So, because despite the fact that I'm
Well, that
lathering
segues us beautifully onto the Werner keynote.
Yes.
Let's do the Werner keynote
Go on.
first because it's the best one.
You
Can we say that? Is that okay?
just said it.
Yeah, I stand by it. It's the best keynote.
And it was.
It was.
So,
And even from like the Matrix skit at the start,
Mhm.
I was properly triggered
Yep.
when they were cooking a fry at a time.
mhm,
Like that really got to me.
mhm.
But for me, announcements, the ability to do pipe data between services with filters, so that because let's be honest, the kind of ETL, like the transforming of data between services, you never want the whole thing. So you're always writing code either in the receiving or in like a lambda somewhere along your pipe to go, I don't need that bit of data, I do need that bit of data. Like you're always writing that boilerplate code.
Mhm.
If there is literally an automated way to define a filter regex or something like that that's built into that pipeline now, that just means we're writing a lot less code and plugging those services together in a much easier way. So that was, for me, I'm like, I've been a Unix geek since before Docker was Docker and when containers were still called Solaris branded zones for Linux.
Mhm.
So I am a fan of the pipe, and I appreciate that. Of the pipe command. That sounded wrong. Do not take that out of context. Steve is now going to do a I love the pipe megamix now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Crap. You heard it here first, folks. But yeah, that was one thing that was really exciting.
So you're talking about event bridge
Pipelines. Yes.
stitching services together, because that's never been a problem.
Right.
So I guess that's
Right, yeah, for sure. I was a little disappointed when he announced the MapReduce capabilities for how's it called?
smooth.
Yeah,
This is where we're.
MapReduce for
When you can do it.
come on. When you chain all the lambdas together, why the hell is it just gonna out of my head?
Step functions.
Step functions, thank you. We don't power our entire SaaS product with it. Hey, it's important to have hands-on knowledge and not just know the verbs. Anyway, so yes, I was kind of annoyed with we're announcing like MapReduce for step functions. I was really hoping with him going, people are doing crazy things with step functions and it's more than we thought they'd do. I was kind of hoping it was just going to be a universal lifting of certain time and memory limits within step functions and provide like more feedback events and control events rather than just a specific service. But I should imagine they've done their research and maybe I'm in a niche of people doing other things with it and most people are just needing MapReduce, maybe. But then the other one that Steve really wanted to talk about, I'm going to leave to you. This was our what the fuck moment, right?
Code Catalyst.
Code Catalyst.
Catalyst. my notes say, I don't get it. Blueprint? WTF, this is awesome. And I was like, and then it was something like importing GitHub Actions, and I was just like, idea to production. And I just thought, I need more. I need to know what this is.
And you've not got more yet?
No. Do you have more?
Oh, no, I haven't got more.
I want more.
No, I don't. Matt knows.
I don't.
He knows all the words.
I know all the words.
But I just, when someone says idea to production, says this is going to do it, visualization, and I'm going, it has blueprints, so I'm thinking, what? So is this like just more like another abstraction layer on services that are purpose built for what you want, and it just kind of gets you there. And I'm thinking, all right, I have lots of ideas.
I am hoping.
I don't want to pay.
If only we knew as a cloud native microservice consultancy that would be able to help us with things like this. If you are looking to start your modernization journey, can't imagine where we'd find one of those.
There are very few around.
Right.
But yeah, Steamhouse is one of them.
One of them, It's like the BBC or the consultancies are available.
Exactly. Absolutely.
But Steamhouse is the one we have sat with.
Exactly.
I am hoping. I've seen a couple of startups recently in the space of like making portable developer environments easier. And I'm hoping it's that. Because if it did, like spinning up a developer environment and like containing your VS Code, like multiplayer VS Code on your team, and it was trying to like import and replace your GitHub Actions, and it was trying to do, your CI/CD pipeline, then I feel like that would be stepping on the toes of too many other services. So I'm hoping it's just like, yes, it's where you do all that other stuff that you already know about, like, but I'm hoping it's just the developer bit of that, and how as a team you have somewhere to interface and track all those components, rather than trying to, like, I don't want it to be like some kind of code wizard generator to do all those for me, because I don't know. That's like going into Cloud Development Kit for ops, and I will be honest, I can't stand CDK.
Oh wow.
Because it never fits what I'm trying to do with it. Like, I'm sure it fits 99% of I want to build basic building blocks of a SaaS app or a web app that has this database and this, but because a lot of what we do in the security space is automating kind of some of the lower level infrastructure pieces, like I find it just spits out a lot of stuff I don't need. I'd rather write my own CloudFormation, for example. So I'm hoping it's not trying to do the automatic spitty out code generating thing, but I do like the idea of, hey, these teams can all now collaborate on this automated VS Code instance that has, IAM roles and keys to talk to this and talk to this, and this GitHub action's been imported. Like, I don't know how they do that. Like, hence the WTF.
Yeah, I almost feel like you're blurring the lines between that and the application composer announcement, because that was a CloudFormation generation.
Yeah.
Draggy droppy.
Oh no, I'm like, we didn't see what the output was of the first product.
That's the beauty of these announcements. They're so vague.
They are so vague. So like, I'm guessing. Whereas, yeah, the Cloud Composer completely separately. Amazing. Like, I was worried as they were talking about, hey, like it looked like Node-RED for building AWS patterns, right? You have a this, and you connect it to that, and you connect it to this, and I'm like, oh god, not another AWS service that only works in the UI. When on one hand they're saying that everyone should be automating and GitOps, but no, it outputs CloudFormation. Great. Use it to model. Use it as a team to discuss. Is this the right architecture? Is this what we need? Is this the right pieces? And then output it to CloudFormation so you can finesse it and tweak it and track it and put it in your CI. That makes sense to me. It's just the other one.
And sometimes potentially learn what the good CloudFormation is meant to look like.
Right.
As opposed to the stuff you would do.
Right.
Well, you're hoping it generates good quality code, right?
Yep.
One of the first projects we were talking about immediately was, let's do a bunch of stuff in this, export the CloudFormation, then run Checkov on it.
Isn't that what you did in your jam?
No, not specifically.
Not on. We were running Checkov as part of the jam.
Yeah.
but it was on a purposely vulnerable application that we deployed on top of AWS, not on their own render.
We didn't make a jam that insulted AWS.
Bad start.
Maybe bad, yeah. Bad partner, bad.
Outside of the Werner keynote, any other announcements that you've been like maybe for Steamhouse in general, like is there anything that's you already know has changed how you're going to be doing things?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Oof. Crikey. That is a question. Well,
This could be bad or good.
It's a question that I can't answer, but my colleagues would.
Mm.
So what you need them in this room for that conversation.
Well,
so this is
are
where
they
I'm
watching?
disappointed now, isn't it? So
No, you can be just as vague as the keynotes.
I will be incredibly vague then. But yeah, no, at the moment I don't have that. But what we are doing is a summary of those key announcements and how it will influence our world.
Oh, nice.
So that will come out next week.
Oh, cool.
And but yeah, good question. We'll follow up with that.
Like a Steamhouse collective mindset on the announcements.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We should steal that. We should do that within Bridgecrew. That's a nice idea.
Well, I'm sure they're going to do it as ComSum.
We will do it as Steamhouse.
Reaction videos.
ComSum, you can do it for ComSum, actually, YouTube.
Maybe we could do that next year.
You're kind of doing it now.
We could just stream us watching the keynote.
Oh my god.
Like a
Going,
live,
"No."
a live reaction video.
Yeah.
So which keynote would you do that for?
Always.
Always.
Werner.
Always Werner's.
Always.
Burners, yeah.
And if it was the Adam one, you just
Yeah.
maybe drooling.
So why was that then, do you think?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say anything.
So
We're
I think,
techie.
let me give an opinion on
All right.
this. I think it spoke to a different audience
It's not us.
than me and a different audience than you.
Yes.
So there is an audience, I think, for that, but there is my reflection on it.
There's like the business side of AWS, the partner persona of AWS, the sales persona, and then there's the show us the techie weeds of things AWS, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I thought there was. I debate even watching any other keynote,
Yes.
and then I get sucked in and do it. But I go, that's 2 hours. I'll never get back.
Yeah. So a couple of my colleagues, Jamie and Tom, went to the ML keynote and found that pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
And again, I think though you're going to say, what did they like about it?
Yeah.
And I'll say, if only I had Jamie and Tom with me now.
AI things and ML things, I should imagine. That was probably
Yes.
part of it.
Exactly.
Did they give you a general feel? Because AI and ML has been a centerpiece of reInvent for the past few years.
Yeah.
Did they feel they came out of it going, wow? Or did they go, oh, not much this year?
They were, jeez.
Just speak for them.
Right. So how much time have you had to think here at reInvent?
That's a good point.
How much time have you had to actually have proper conversation
Actually,
with
it's
anyone
all happening
that
right
isn't
now.
actually,
Live.
It is.
For you.
This is us taking a load off our feet for the first time in 4 days and brain dumping, what we haven't had time to process, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Are you going to replay tonight? Can I move us? Are you going to talk about that later?
No, let's go straight into
We'll
it.
go straight into it.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be one of my complaints as well. Go ahead.
I do plan to go to replay after the Palo Alto Network sponsored drinks at Sushi Samba from 4 till 7. So if you are here in Vegas and you are somehow watching this live stream rather than being in the event, it's very unlikely.
I know a lot of people that have been in their hotel rooms watching sessions rather than sort of pounding the floors and doing all of that. So yeah, it's highly plausible.
I've actually heard from a few people that being at home more and more each year with AWS just constantly expanding into more and more places, being at home actually gives you more coverage of the conference than being here.
Yeah.
Because you have to be so selective in what you go to see.
You get different stuff from being here, though.
Yeah, the hallway.
The hallway
con.
track.
What do you call it?
Like,
Something like you have a name for it. Hallway con.
Like
or something.
QCon or while you're queuing, waiting.
It's the conversations you have outside of the talks, outside of the jams,
Absolutely.
the vendor areas, the things we're doing now, and getting the reactions and meeting people you haven't met like for 365 days.
Right,
That's the value.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the jam and the builders fair.
For sure.
Which I didn't even know the jam existed. Like I knew it existed.
Was it the first year for the jam?
No, this was like
We've been
the
going since 2016.
Oh, right, okay.
yeah. Talk about under the radar, right?
Yes.
So the 8 minutes that these 0 viewers, we have 2 viewers,
Hey, hello.
had to suffer for me waiting for you guys was me already did the jam. I talked about what it is, what it's for. We had 600 people per day over every single day, different subject.
Yeah.
So we had security, we had DevOps, I think it was an AIML.
There's an AIML one
data
today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Data was the first day. And there was, I think, 15 different subjects to choose from. You could spend the rest of your life just doing the jams and learning so much about how to put together services that serve a purpose. It was, for me, I'm like, in the community that kind of grows around it, and you meet new people, it's designed for networking. You get put at a table with people you don't know, and you learn what knows what, and let's do this.
Yeah.
It was, like, we weren't even participating, it was, like, amazing.
Like, we as proctors, effectively, were so pumped up on the third-party energy we were getting from being in that room. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's right, little 3PE.
Yeah.
I could tell. I think that comes across in your video as well. I think it's a very sort of passionate thing.
But what was interesting is the team that were building that back end to gamify and make that all possible, their energy as well, like proper team on a mission. Like, this is how learning should be done kind of thing. Yeah, super, super exciting.
The building team was, how many people? 8?
8. Proper two pieces in, right? Yeah.
So they spent more, when they weren't proctoring, they were around our little table. So just chatting,
all
going,
of the guys that built it were there as well,
They have built the interface for us. We're like, what can we do better? And like, you have a bug here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. It doesn't process brackets. Like all sorts of little idiosyncrasies that don't do a thing, except they have this beautiful animated leaderboard. They have this graph. It looked like a NORAD command center.
It was huge, that leaderboard.
It was amazing, yeah. But also, like, at the end, we said, yo, for our capture the flag, where were people falling down the most? Like, which part of our task, 1 to 7, were the most wrong answers? And they're like, oh, we don't actually export that in our UI. And then one of the guys just sat there and just started scrapping some Python together to give us a database row output of like task and bad answers. I'm like, awesome. That's fantastic.
Matt took a picture of this sort of janky McPython screen, and he went, wait, hold on. And he just hit enter 1,000 times to get rid of all these Python crashes. And then he goes, okay, thank you for that.
You can have just the line of the output. Yeah, for sure.
And it was incredible, and that's now a thing because they took that feedback and were like, oh yeah, people who make a jam that has 8 tasks or 7 or 8 tasks, and we had the most fails of any by like 150%.
270 odd wrong answers.
Wrong
compared
answers.
to like 70.
70 was the next most wrong, and we're like, is it because it's hard or we suck?
Okay.
And so that's what we asked for the output.
Yeah.
And all the fails were on the intentional hardest task.
Yeah, so it was.
And we're like, forget
put
it.
on purpose.
We're okay with that.
Excellent.
Good stat.
Yeah.
Going back to the event, are you going to the party tonight?
I am.
Doesn't it cost more? Because I got an email saying, sign up for replay, click the link, and it tried to charge me $300 more on top of my pass.
Wow, that's news to me. If it's $300
so it was
extra.
free.
Yeah, but we are an exhibiting sponsor pass, and you are a general attendee pass, so maybe.
No. I got it because I was a general attendee pass, even though it was a sponsor. And I got there, and I had to enter a code. I thought, oh, then I'll get it for free. And it still was $300. It was free last year. And every year.
I mean, yeah, right. So I'm sure I've registered for it already. Maybe it's just people with the name Steve Giger.
Anyway, I could be wrong.
I know it's $300.
Yes, exactly.
I know it's
all of those viewers
caveat.
now might sort of think it's going to cost me $300. I'm not going to go.
I know it's $300 if you want to bring a guest in the portal in your login. You can say, I want an extra pass for the party for like
Is that what it is?
wives, girlfriends, or partners, or whatever.
Stand corrected?
I think
That makes more sense.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
That I'm too thick to understand basic ticket buying workflows.
Yeah.
so.
Because, I mean, sponsors should be kind of.
Alright,
We're the most important people here.
I mean, you've paid for it.
Let me
Someone
So,
has.
let me
Presumably.
rephrase. I will be going tonight if it doesn't cost me 300 notes
yes,
of my
absolutely.
own money.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you- so before, am I allowed to come to your sushi samba?
You certainly are. You're an honoured guest.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, registration's closed, but
Peyton, if you're listening,
Has
we
it
need to
really?
plus
Yeah.
one.
So you're going to squeeze me in? Oh dear.
that's another cassette boy track coming just soon, just for you.
So-
squeeze me in.
I can come along. That's it. And can I bring a couple of other people as well? This
Sure,
is where I'm really-
sure, we'll squeeze them in too.
Well, we have to get there in 20 minutes, so we'll go straight there.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I have
And we have to wrap things up.
yeah, perfect. I have a final interview to do, and I do have to go if we're wrapping things up.
We're wrapping things up anyway.
I would like, because this is the Codified Security Office Hours,
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about Checkov.
So I played Checkov, and the reason we did the CTF was to expose the new SCA feature.
Perfect.
All right, so I did that alone, but you do just bookend it to it.
That's great. We have the new supply chain analysis features. We are able to do all kinds of good. Well, we were already able to scan CVEs through the API key with Bridgecrew, but as well as the SCA feature set, we are also doing some really cool stuff that is coming very soon with Kubernetes graph edges, which all ties together like even more data points that you need interconnected to really understand your like entire exposure, like that blast radius of, yes, I have a misconfig, but is it really something I need to prioritize? Like we're getting more and more of that stuff kind of wired in to Checkov. Super exciting stuff. The Kubernetes stuff will be behind a feature flag. We'll mention it on the Codified Security Slack if you're interested in helping us test that feature. But yes, that's all I want to say. Kubernetes stuff coming soon.
Kubernetes stuff coming soon. Any closing statement from yourself?
I would just like to thank you both again for being amazing. I really would, because you are. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. This is why we keep him around.
No, it is the only reason I'm here, isn't it? To say nice
It's
things
just
to you.
so beautiful.
Nobody else says nice things about you.
That's
That's
true.
I can believe that. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Let me close up one more statement.
Oh, go on,
You
yeah.
wanted to
Well,
say.
I
Okay,
might
then-
want a final closing statement.
Oh,
No, it's your
then
show.
me, then
Go on,
you.
go on.
The last thing I have to say, and this is actually credit to Matt, not me. I'm just going to big him up for a brief moment. We had a conversation, when I say we, I mean Matt, with the AWS Jam crew, and they explained how it's based on AWS Labs, and they explained how you can use it for private gamified learning, not just via the labs here. It's becoming like a productized thing that you can grab.
I think I saw that.
Yes, that's new. So expect to see some Bridgecrew labs based on the AWS Jam coming to you soon from us.
Gonna be awesome.
That is a great idea.
Other than that, should we close it?
Let's.
We're good?
I don't have to figure out how to end it because I'm controlling it from my phone. And it's like one of these kind of like, what the?
Yeah, before we just throw beer cans at the phones, I am Matt Johnson,
Phil Horn.
Steve Jacquer.
and we will see you next time.
All right, let's do this and hope I can end it in a sensible.